Well, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for that introduction. Yeah, when I was asked to do this, I was a little excited and I was a little bit nervous because the theme is lost, and Colby was like, "You seem lost." I do this. But through a lot of our relationship, I have been. I've struggled professionally with a handful of things. But as you mentioned, I'm an engineer, so we had a rehearsal a little while back, and I basically did the engineering presentation. I said, here's who I am, here's all the linear facts, data, and they were like, cool, but you should know your audience. So I'm stepping out of my comfort realm a little bit, and I'm trying to have a much more creative presentation. So, rather than getting into a lot of details about the various times I've felt lost, looking for that beacon of hope, I think I would rather just share a couple of short descriptions of where I was, but just share more music with y'all. So, I'd like to have a couple of original pieces that I'm going to do that came out of somewhat troubled times. But then I'd also like to have a bunch of my friends get up here and join me to play just some music for the sake of creating more music with more people here this morning. So, a little bit of a layout. So the title of my talk was Lost on Arrival. And this was much more tied to my original theme of building up to these points of arrival in my life and how lost I felt, either when I got to them or shortly thereafter. But those moments of forecasting and seeing to the future, what do I want my life to be like? What do I want the world to be? And I've had a handful of those that have gone well, and I've had some of those that have failed miserably. But even if it's gone well, I have really depended on music and needed music to get me through the unknown, through those times where I don't have as clear a path, or I'm genuinely questioning my path. So, with all that said, I'd like to open up with an original piece that I wrote when I was in high school. So this has a little bit of youthful lostness to it. So. And for this one, I'm not really going to give any description. You guys can just deal with the fact that I was a confused and sad teenager. Gotta get all my gear together.
Yeah.
Other than hitting y'all with a bunch of engineering, I'm going to try to do some more of that. Can I get a quick hand in the room for people that, let's get away from the word musician, but if you have within the last decade picked up an instrument and had a decent time with it, and people didn't ask you to stop. All right, excellent. That's what I like to hear. Okay. So now I want a similar set, but I want to know who in here started on that medium when they were 18 or younger, when you were a kid. How many of y'all got to start playing music when you were a kid? All right. So for those of you who started when you were started playing music as a kid, I bet, I hope, I would imagine, there was an adult in your life that helped you, support you in that, help you along the way. I want to encourage y'all, a little bit on the theme, to not, to if they're here, if they're not here, it doesn't matter. I just encourage you to take a moment to thank that adult for being in your life and helping you find that way to express yourself. With that said, I'm going to get all emotional, and I'm going to tell my mom, who's sitting up here, how much I appreciate her and how I wouldn't be up here without her and without the support as a child in playing music. So, Mama, thank you. So the description of the beacon earlier really stuck with me. I really liked the introduction. I really liked the descriptions on Lost and the intro about creativity and about how we give a damn. Really made me feel welcome. So thank y'all for that. With the beacon, I don't know where it comes from. I mean, I'm an engineer, I'm a science guy. Math was my favorite subject for some reason. I have found that beacon in these moments of feeling lost and struggling with the choices that I've made and some of the paths that I'm on. And so without getting into too much detail, I want to describe about 12 years ago, probably, 11 or 12 years ago, my wife and I moved down, well, with my girlfriend at the time, moved down to Raleigh, and I was going to graduate school down there at NC State. And I had come from up here where I was outside playing music, having a lot of fun, to graduate school where I was working a lot. I was working through graduate school and I was in front of a computer. We were living in an apartment. I just had a lot of questions for the path that I had chosen, and I was struggling with it. And often for me, the creative process can be just that beacon shines. I don't know where it comes from, but it just opens up and says, here I am. The tune I just played, I feel like I was part of that, but my conscious self was not a big part of writing that. Same with the piece I'd like to play next, which is a song, so I'm going to get into a little bit of singing. Yeah, this was one that I wrote, but I also at the same time partially didn't feel like I wrote it. I felt like it just kind of came from feeling very lost and very troubled and trying to find an outlet, something that helped me, I don't know, be more present. So anyhow, with that said, I'd like to play a song that I wrote a while back called Lure of the Road. And this is in no way autobiographical, just if anybody's listening. graduate school. And that sucked. No, it was good. It was good. I'm thankful for the journey, for sure. But fast forward about 5 or 6 years, and Colby and I are sitting there at the bar, having a conversation, getting all into all sorts of things. And this was a big point in my life of feeling like I had arrived. So I had a good job. I had a great job for living in Madison County. I was a full-time telecommuter. I worked as an engineer, building large energy efficiency and renewable energy projects. And it was great. I really enjoyed it. And it was clearly not the only path for me. And I got to a point where I felt like I had kind of made it, and then I just lingered for about 2 years before starting to go a little crazy and then figure out I really needed something else. And part of getting out of that feeling of loss has been playing music with people, has been I've been less focused on writing, and I've been way more focused on just connecting with other human beings that are meaningful in my world through music, and it's been incredible. I'm incredibly thankful for it. So, with all that said, I would like to ask a couple of my fancy pants front row musician friends that have come all the way down from Marshall to come up here and join me. And I would also like to let you guys know, I see it as 2 performances and then a song that I'd like, if y'all are willing, to jump in and sing with us. It's a pretty familiar song. You probably recognize it. Y'all can go ahead and come on up. Almost rattle for a split second while you make sure you have the right objects in the right places. Yeah, y'all come up too. Yeah, everybody come on up. It's gonna play. Yeah, so this is a song that has gotten to be more and more dear to my heart in the last couple of years. I won't give a long introduction, but I'll say I think it is fairly appropriate, and I'm glad to play with these folks, and I hope y'all enjoy it. Please jump in if you recognize any of the words. All right, I should do introductions. This is Annie, Tim, Johnny, I'm David. This is also David. This is Jack, and that's Steve. You guys remember all that. Battle hymn in the key of D. And just so you know, in the spirit of making music and just creating music, this is the first time we got to play, some of us, for rehearsal, or for sound check, but we've never played this song together. That's great. So, you talk about taking risks and going out there. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to push it a little bit. So. All right. 1, 2, 3. me. I do want to say, though, thank you guys for coming out, and also, I'm short, but I'm not that short. My hope is to get away from spending so much time in front of a computer analyzing. I still do that, and I still need to, but I also want to get more creative and collaborative work, maybe with some of y'all here in the room. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being such an awesome creative community and such a good environment for taking this risk. Thank you.